Hey guys, I hope you're having a wonderful afternoon. I'm certainly trying to. I'm sitting on the wonderful South Sea pebbled beach. You can see kind of behind me, the road's behind me, the sea is that way. Listening to the waves. Very relaxing. And it kind of made me think about something that I was discussing with a few friends of mine a few days ago. That was quite amusing. I thought I'd share it with you. I've heard it said that basically imagination and creativity is very powerful. There's a quote that I also like. I think it's by Eleanor Roosevelt, who said, "The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams." Something like that. Words along those lines. I think I've messed it up, but something like that anyway. The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams, basically. So in our imagination, and in our dreams, and in our creativity, there's a lot of power there that we may not be harnessing. So I'm also of the mindset. I also think that as we've grown older, we've actually lost a lot of our creativity and our imagination, and we tend not to allow our minds to wander, to be as free thinking as we were when we were younger. You know what you were like when you were younger. You were 5 or 7 or 9, and you had the wildest, most vivid imagination and dreams and things that you had on your mind to do, or that you felt were important to you, or that amused you. And so I'm basically trying to say that in our past, in our youth, there's a lot that we've actually forgotten that we really would benefit by going back to. And so one of the things we were talking about, back to the story of my friends, is what was the first film that you ever saw at the cinema? Think about it. The first film that you saw at the cinema, or that you remember seeing, was it like a Disney or a cartoon, or what was it? Do you remember? Back in the day, I'll be honest, we didn't go to cinema very much. So for me, the first film that I can clearly remember, I may be wrong, I might have to ask my brother or something, my older brother, he might be able to correct me. But the first film I remember seeing was breakdance. So I don't know if any of you remember that film, but for me it blew my mind. I was like, wow. It was at the time when, I don't know, rap, hip hop and all that street dance, break dancing was sort of new. Well, to me it was anyway. And I really enjoyed that. I don't know does anybody else remember that film, breakdance? With Turbo and Ozone, and I think her name was Kelly. Break dance. Do you remember the song? No? Somebody, one person must remember it. Come on. With all the fancy clothing and all that sort of 80s looking red, bright colours and baggy trousers and bits of chains hanging off them and stuff. Anyway, that was my first film at the cinema, and I remember it being a big deal. We came out, I think I went with my brother and my cousin and maybe some friends, and I think we came out all thinking we could spin on our heads and do crazy legs, and we could be Rocksteady Crew, or I don't know what was going through our mind, but basically we had an amazing time, and it allowed us to dream and think, wow, we could do so much more. And that's really the basic point, really. So what was your first film? Do you remember that you saw at the cinema? Was it on a school trip? Or did you go with your primary school? Or did you go with family? I'd just like to know, I just wondered. And actually also, I'm a big fan of film and musicals. I'll admit it, I like musicals. I just do. I think it's all to do with that whole thing of being able to just to be entertained in a sort of fantasy world that's not as boring and as drab and less more colourful than our day-to-day world generally. Not for everybody, but for me anyway. So I've always liked all those musicals, and I wondered also what your first theatre show was. Now, for a lot of people, as my friends were saying, they probably didn't go to theatre until they were much older. The cinema was easy to do, and unless no, it depends. That's not necessarily true. If you went to pantomime with school regularly, I live in the UK, so I'm going to say, pantomime and use the UK terminology. I don't know what it would be where you live. You went to see dramas or plays or whatever, then I guess it's the same thing. But what was the first show you went to a theatre to see? And for me, aside from school plays and stuff, I always enjoyed all of that. For me, I remember exactly what it was. It was Peter Pan at the Barbican in London, and that also blew my mind. I can't remember who was in it. I must have been about 10, and I was just so fascinated by this guy who was on a harness that could fly around the stage. It really, really blew my mind, actually. It was a really good show. They had this guy on the strings that came out over the audience and stuff, and it was really like, wow, it really brought it to life. And so what was yours? So, two things. One, what was the first film that you saw at the cinema? And two, what was the first theatre show performance that you saw? I still love going to theatre. I don't do it as often as I should, but I still love it. I remember loads of things that I've seen that I absolutely loved, that blew my mind. I keep saying that a lot because I enjoy it. I think it's really good fun. You go out for a bit of entertainment and you see something that you're really amazed by, and it takes you back to that happy place where, you were 6 again or something, and the world looked very different. It wasn't, as black and white and as realistic as we like it to be. I saw a little post today on Facebook that I really enjoyed, where it said, if you make life all black and white, you may, if you make everything black and white, you may miss seeing the rainbows, which is true. There are many rainbows in each of our lives every day that we might miss because we're too focused on the realistic and the logical. So let me know what you think anyway, and what your two films were, if they were as amusing as mine, if you found what I said about breaking or breakdance. It was called breakdance in the UK, but I think it was called breaking in the USA, something like that. I wonder if you remember it. And then there was breakdance 2, and there was Beat Street. There were loads of them that came out after that, but for me, breakdance I think was the first one that I saw that I thought, wow, I really enjoyed it. So let me know what you think. Take care. Have a wonderful day. Ciao.